welcome back to NPStation. So if you guys want to say hi to Jeff Kinney, then make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video. I'll be sharing with you how, when, and where I met Jeff Kinney in person. So anyway, in today's video, I'll be sharing with you all one of the most awaited books of the year, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Deep End. Now this book just released on October 27th and I'm ready to share it with you all. So see you in a bit.
Of things we know.
Welcome back, everyone. So let me first say that this book is now my second favorite book in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. I just loved it so much. Now, for those of you who are wondering, my first favorite book is definitely The Getaway. Now let's get on to this book. So this book first starts off in Greg's grandma's basement. Yep, it turns out that Greg's whole family, meaning himself, Roderick, Manny, and his mom and dad, had been living in grandma's basement for 2 whole months. Now you may be thinking, why have they been living there for that long? Well, that's because that their own house got damaged in a way which I will not spoil. So they just get really tired of being the same level with each other. They just start brainstorming on ideas on where they could go, like for a mini trip. So it turns out that all of Greg's family members have their own opinions on where they could go for a nice family vacation. But it turns out that later on, Greg's great-grandmother calls them and says that Uncle Gary's camper, or RV, has been parked in her driveway for 2 years, and she knows that he would definitely not come back and pick it up. So of course, Greg's great-grandmother tells them to take the RV somewhere else. Now that's when Greg's dad got the idea to go on a big road trip together as a family. Now that turns out to be the final decision, and later on they head to the store, to get all their camping equipment, and they pack their clothes or whatever they need, and they head off on their camping trip in their Uncle Gary's camper. So it turns out that Greg's family didn't really have an actual destination they were headed to, so they just drove off. Now, let me tell you that Greg's family stopped at many places on where they could camp, but they all turned out to be a really bad spot for camping. So this part of the book was definitely very funny to read. It was practically half of the book of Greg's family trying to find a place to stay, and I enjoyed reading it so much. I think you guys will have a wonderful time reading this book. Now, after spending a lot of time for searching for places to stay, Greg's mom finally gets the idea to stay at this RV park called Campers Edin. For those of you who don't know, Edin is another word for like paradise or luxury. So Greg's mom shows them all the brochure for Campers Edin, and to be honest, it looked pretty exciting. There was this really cool lake you could swim in, and there was this new swimming pool that they just opened up. So that turns out to be the final decision, and they drove off to Campers Edin. So once they reached, they went to the main lodge, and this lady there told them more about the park, and she showed them this map. So it turns out there's actually these 2 campsites. There's the deluxe campsites and the economy site. So the deluxe campsites have actually been booked way back, so they're all full. There's no empty campsite available. And those were pretty cool. They were like mini houses with a nice backyard, and the view was the lake. But of course, Greg's family ends up in the economy site, and once they reached there, it was jam-packed. It was literally a parking lot with RVs or campers parked like 3 feet far from each other. So it was very close, and it was all very packed up. But thankfully, Greg's family found a place to park the RV. And once they were all settled in, Greg thought he could go around and take an adventure through this park. So he first stopped at the swimming pool, because that's the part he thought was really cool from the brochure. And the picture on the brochure was totally different than what was happening in real life. It was it was just chaotic. So let me describe what the scene. So it was like the parents were there. They were either in the pool or outside just chilling around, and their kids were alone. They were drifting off towards the deep end of the pool to where the diving the diving board was. And now all the big kids are jumping off the diving board and landing in the pool, doing a cannonball. So all the small kids are flying out of the pool. So the illustration was just so funny. I was laughing so hard. I think that was like the best illustration that Jeff Kinney has done in the book. So that was a very funny part too. And another thing is there was actually this slide that was leading into the pool. And let me first say, there were no lifeguards. And like I said, the parents weren't even watching over their kids. So the kids took that advantage, and one of them was riding their bicycle down that slide. So it was just very chaotic. It was very funny though to read that part. And let me say that Greg's family definitely had a lot of different adventures throughout their time at Campers Edin. Now I'm going to end this video by telling you all that it turns out that Greg's 3-year-old little brother ends up saving the day. So he's the smart one in this book because he ends up saving practically actually like the whole camp. So if you want to find out more about this book, then please do get it. I highly recommend you guys to do so. And like I said, this book published on October 27th, so you can get it on Amazon or any public library. Now, as I promised you all, here's a short clip of how I met Jeff Kinney in person. Now, it turns out that Jeff Kinney was actually making a pool party tour across the country, and he had come and visited Maryland. So he was only 20 minutes away from my house, and being a big Wimpy Kid fan, I had to meet him. So I booked my tickets, and I was super excited to meet Jeff Kinney in person, but like we all know, this whole pandemic is going on, so we couldn't get out of our car. But I did film a very funny video of Jeff Kinney throwing a water balloon at our car. Yes, I'm not joking. So I'm sure you want to see that happening. Now stay tuned. Hello everyone, and guess where I am right now? Today I'm going to meet Jeff Kinney, the one and only Jeff Kinney, and yes, you heard me, the author of the Diary of Wimpy Kid series. So I'm actually in the line to the Jeff Kinney, the pool party. So I'm going to be meeting him. He's going to be giving us the new book, The Deep End, and it's going to be signed from him. So I'm super excited, and now here's take a look at this event.